So often what we see when stroke subjects come into our laboratory is that they have problems with object manipulation. And what we see is that stroke subjects often have problems with keeping that object stable in their hand. So one of the ways that we're hypothesizing that maybe we could help with this issue is by adding vibration, and we do that with a C3 tactor. And we'll place it on their hand, the paretic side, and we want to see if this is going to actually improve their ability to make a more stable grasp to begin with, and then help manipulate that object over a barrier.
So what you see here is a steering wheel, a big screen. This is a driving simulation that we're trying to use to understand driving performance for both healthy people and stroke survivors. And the goal for spinal knobs is to make controlling the steering wheel easier. So we are trying to determine whether the spinal knob impacts driver's performance for both healthy and stroke.
So what we have here is the virtual model for the assisted glove project. Now what this device does is help open the fingers for those suffering from a paretic hand. So how this works is rubber bands are placed over pins near the wrist. So then the tension of the rubber bands pulls the cables back and help extend the muscles. And this causes the hinges, which are placed at each joint, to close and help straighten the finger without causing hyperextension.
Alright, well what this is a unilateral repetitive motion device. It's essentially an exercise device to help stroke survivors. What it does is we have a hand plate such as this, and it attaches, and then we have a motor that drives it, and essentially it passively works one hand, and you can switch out the hand plates to do right hand or left hand, so paretic or non-paretic.
So here's a device that we use for our brain stimulation studies. It is called transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS for short. When this figure of 8-shaped coil is held on a person's head, it can stimulate the underlying brain cells. I am currently holding the coil on the part of the brain that is responsible for the movements in your hand and your fingers. When this area is stimulated using the TMS, the opposite hand twitches. We can also measure the amount of this twitching, which appears like this on the computer screen. Stronger the brain activity, stronger the twitch. Recent evidence shows that the brain stimulation can facilitate recovery from a stroke.